think we're live.
Nice.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, no.
Welcome to this virtual write-in. It's our first one during our Nano prep season. Yeah. Oh, wait. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I'm like still getting back into the hang of it after you've had a little bit of a break, and then you're like, oh, what do I do? But hey to everybody who's joining us for the first time. If you're a newbie, feel free to say hi in the chat, or if you've been to a ton of these before. I love seeing usernames that we recognize. So I'm Catherine. I'm the communications manager over at NaNoWriMo. And Nautica.
Yeah, sorry, there's an airplane in my background just right now. I know y'all saw me over the summer. I'm Nautica. I go by she, her, or they, them. And I am the editorial intern once again. So yeah, and we have a new intern buddy.
I'm Meghna. My pronouns are she, her. I am the programs intern, and I work with Mariah, who I think y'all have seen before.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for the reminder. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them as well. So yeah, we're super excited to have Meghna joining us for her first virtual write-in. So that's very exciting. Feel free to drop in the chat like where you're writing from, or if you've got a project in mind that you want to work on in November. It's doing this makes it real. Like suddenly that NaNoWriMo is super close. Up until now, I was like, oh, we got time. And now being here on this virtual write-in, I'm like, oh my God, it's right around the corner.
Just creeping up on us. And just a little reminder, start those official projects, right? Because I know some of us are getting a head start, but also we want to know, right? What y'all are up to and how many folks are starting projects, because we're doing this together.
Yeah. And I will add the direct link to start a project right in the chat. So all you have to do is click on it.
If it's any consolation and you don't have an idea, I started mine and then titled it, I have no clue. So you could just start it and come up with an idea later.
Exactly. Perfect.
Or even later, join us as this, like for a whole month, like until like NaNoWriMo. We're doing Nano prep. Right. So if y'all need some assistance, we got like writing exercises, we got folks popping off in the forum. And so if you need extra help, this little support until November, we have that going on.
Yeah, that is a great point. I'm also going to put a link to our Nano prep page in the chat. But yeah, so because like it's kind of weird doing these virtual write-ins too, not in November, because like even though technically what we write today won't like count for your word count in November, like I don't know, we found that it's really helpful to do some preparation so that you're like ready to hit the road right when November 1st starts. So if you don't have an idea on what you want to work on for November yet, I'm glad you're here, because we're gonna be doing some just like exploratory exercises. And Meghna, I know you were saying before we started that you have like 3 different ideas that you're trying to choose between. So
I'm this close to just going rock, paper, scissors, something, pulling a coin, like not pulling a coin, flipping a coin, calling a day. But Catherine gave me a great idea of just using each prompt today to like try it out with one of my work in progresses and see which one fits the best.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. Speaking of writing prompts, again, if you've never joined us before, you're not super familiar with virtual write-ins. Basically, we're going to be doing some writing prompts throughout the next hour. So we'll start off shorter and get a little bit longer as it goes on. But just to kind of like, explore some options, try out new things, see what gets your creative juices going. I don't know. I need to work on my metaphors, obviously. But yeah, we'll have some prompts. We'll have some chat. Feel free to share stuff in the chat if you want.
Like a lot of new folks are here.
That's awesome.
Coming from like North Carolina, Denmark, Germany. So it seems like a lot of folks are just coming here ready to write.
Cool. Yeah, Holly and Mistletoe says, hi, I have no clue what I want to write, so I'm here for inspiration. Perfect.
Everyone who's saying they have no clue what to write gives me hope. I'm like, thank God. I'm not the only one.
Well, speaking of having inspiration to write, should we jump into our first prompt here?
Yes, we should. And I can read it out because
Great.
I kind of stole it from the Nano Prep. But for the first sprint, write a list of 5 new characters, 5 new settings, and 5 new problems or conflicts. And just a reminder, if you don't want to follow this prompt, you don't have to. But if you want to brainstorm with us, maybe get some practice, you feel free to use this prompt as you need to.
All right. That's great. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes, right?
Oh, we have 5. This is how you can tell that I did not go through all the prompts before, because I was like, 5 minutes? Okay. All right.
Yeah, just blurt out on the page whatever that the list of characters and problems and settings. Pulling up my timer here. And if this prompt doesn't work for you, you don't have to use it. You can use the writing time for whatever would work best for you, but it's kind of here as a jumping off point, if that's helpful. All right, so I've got my timer set and let's start writing now. About halfway through. Okay, time is up. Go ahead and wrap up what you're writing. If you want to drop any of the things that you came up with in the chat, feel free to put that in there. I'm gonna wrap up the last thing that I was typing here. How'd that go for you guys?
I got through some characters and 2-3 settings.
Nice.
I think for me, I realized what plots I tend to avoid because it has popped up in my brain. I'm like, oh, I don't like it, but it's a brainstorm.
What do you like to avoid? What do you usually avoid?
You know, I'm not really too fond of solving crimes. I like it when they happen.
Mhm.
Or like I like characters that do it.
Because
What are you trying to tell us?
ideas. I literally just watched a murder mystery like show recently, and I was like, "That's what I like to write." And you had the exact opposite reaction. So I was like, "Oh my god, I love meeting new people." Continue. But you know, I agree. Like it's fun when they happen, but like I feel like writing them, you have to like know what everything that happens,
Yeah.
and then you have to dissect it.
Man, I feel like you guys are thinking about this way deeper than I was. I was just like looking around the weird stuff on my wall and like coming up with characters. I was like, a sentient cactus, a very fashionable lumberjack, a dragon with a cough. Like
A dragon with a what?
with a cough.
Oh, that's. Wait, does he breathe fire every time it coughs?
I don't know, but that would definitely be a problem.
We definitely have some folks going off in the chat with some of them like Grayson spending their time with names for characters they already created. Or Marin Emily Johnson, I'm bringing an idea I had as a child to life almost 25 years later, which is dope.
Whoa. I love this idea from Katie Luxmore that says, the problem, your protagonist has fallen hopelessly in love with you. And I like thinking that they've fallen in love with you, the author, and not another character.
Mine is also from Kaylee because it's Anne Shirley, a character who has Anne Shirley vibes, a park in New York, and the season is stuck in summer. That would be my dream situation. Like that's like not even. I don't need a novel. I want that. And it's funny that I think Imaginus Destinova had like Peter Pan, and one of my characters was cult leader Peter Pan, who means so well but does so much very wrong.
Oh, I love that idea.
There's also a lot of folks who I understand didn't get some writing done due to their partner or their cat on their keyboard. I avoid my cat. Oh my God, they bite my laptop. So I understand. Y'all maybe thought of some stuff but didn't get it down just yet.
Magician also, phrasing it like that makes me think of like somebody's partner just crouched on the keyboard like, no, pay attention to me, you can't write.
I just picture them lying on the laptop just to avoid everything. Sunai mentioned a magician who can't speak, and I think that's really cool. Also an android with a human heart. Both those ideas sound really cool.
Yeah.
I guess also what I'm wondering and putting out to the chat, while we are thinking of these like characters and plots that we want to get back to, let's ask the real homework question. How are you preparing to write in November? Do y'all plan to write 5,000 words, or are there other projects that y'all want to get started on? I know some folks put it in the chat. But let's be real for a second. Are y'all ready?
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
I think the way I'm getting ready is I was talking to y'all about this earlier, but for me, it's going through the stories that I've like started and like I've genuinely loved, but like never finished, and like trying to see which one I'm willing to commit to. So like a lot of the exercises, I'm just like gonna be using those old characters that I like created with love and just be like, which one of you am I gonna spend all of November with?
Feel it.
Yeah. I'm gonna attempt I always attempt to do 50,000 words in November. I've only actually done it once. I have a novel idea that I have the first like 20 pages of written. So I think I'm going to try to continue on with that one in November. But
I think honestly, I'm just trying to finish some projects I already have, but I know there's a lot of new folks showing up in the chat, like Sammy D starting a new novel. Or also, I really want to uplift this because I find it hilarious. Adriana's, I panicked and wrote down anything that came out. An astronaut who really likes grapefruit, an intern at a Fortune 50 company who hates capitalism. These are
I
ideas.
have a friend who does that.
oh my gosh.
I want to see this written.
I know. I somehow want those two ideas to go together. Like the Fortune 500 company is about space travel or something. Like, I don't know.
The intern works at like space travel, like a space travel company, and then falls in love with an astronaut who likes grapefruit while they're in space. We just gave them a whole novel.
Mr. Rogers Cardigan says, I'm so ready emotionally, not in terms of actual writing preparation. I feel that.
Me too.
We had a question earlier in the chat. Oh, from Theta Teddy Snyder. That asked optimal number of characters in a murder mystery novel. I'm curious if people have thoughts about that.
I like there to be 7 people because in my head, well, okay, no, it can either be 7 or 5 because I feel like if it's an odd number, like you as the reader keep assuming that like it's the one whose perspective you haven't seen, so you can just go from an even number of perspectives and then like boom, it's the one that we didn't hear from all along, or like the one that we didn't hear from all along was innocent and we were just bamboozled. So like an odd number, it's like 7 or 5 is in my head makes more sense.
That's interesting. I
I
love that.
guess you're 7 for each day of the week and 5 for the work week.
I didn't even think about that, but that would also be good.
There we go. Maybe the intern is trying to solve a mystery.
And they can only work 5. They only work 5 days a week.
Let's see. Some folks are, even though it's their first, like Jane, their first attempt for November. What is it? A lot of folks are really like working on their older projects. So it seems like we have some like editing going on. Maybe.
I think that's the process I dread the most. Like having to look back on the like what do you call it? Like the project I've already written. Also, someone just asked tips for fan fiction, and this is my only area of expertise.
You tell us.
As somebody who wrote for like 4 years and was very prompt based, I say just let the characters you love do the talking, because I feel like when you write fanfic, some part of you is like, oh, I must stay true to everything that happens in the show or the book or whatever. But like you love them enough to know to give them life too. So like just let them do their thing. Like it'll make sense when you write. Don't like force yourself to like create personalities for them. They already exist. Just let them do their thing.
That's great. I love that. Kaylee Book says, I've tried NaNoWriMo before, but failed because I didn't plan. This year I'm planning. So, all right, got some planners.
I'm trying to pants.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if people are planners or pantsers or plantsers, somewhere in between.
Yeah, I'm actively just trying to like not plan because I Camp NaNoWriMo. I planned, as I showed y'all previously in my notebook, and then scrapped it after 10 pages because I didn't care enough. So
all right. Speaking of planning, shall we move on to the next prompt here?
Let's do some sort of planning. Sure. Or if y'all just want to do your own thing for the pansters, y'all can. But for the next prompt is take one of the elements from your list and mix it into something new. So maybe if you wrote some of your old characters, maybe they're in a new setting, or maybe they're facing a completely new conflict that you put on your list. Maybe, or y'all can write your own thing. But whatever gets you writing for the next 10 minutes, that is the goal.
Yeah, and yeah, if you want, you can just like mix and match a bunch of the stuff that you brainstormed in the last prompt. If you came up with a list of stuff, can see if you can try to fit them all in there. I might not make for the most cohesive storyline, but it could be interesting. You never know.
Froyo.
What about Froyo?
Treat it like Froyo.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you like doing too much, that's also an option.
I feel like that should be our next like official NaNoWriMo slogan. Treat it like Froyo.
That would make a cute shirt.
All right, we'll keep it in mind. All right, so setting a timer for 10 minutes, taking some of the stuff that you brainstormed in the last prompt and putting them together into a plot. Let's start writing now. About 4 minutes left. All right, time is up. Go ahead and wrap up what you're writing. Again, feel free to put in the chat if you want to share a sentence of what you wrote or how you kind of put different elements that you came up with together. We'd love to see that.
So how was that for y'all?
I took an idea that I did not think I could ever use again, and I character from there, and then realized I could use it if I just put it in a different context. And now I feel really motivated about it. Essentially, one of the characters I wrote down was a true crime junkie who once lost his best friend and has been searching for him ever since. and the setting I chose was modern America, but with paranormal characters. Except people don't view them as cool and sexy. They just see them as monsters who are outsiders. So I've just combined them and started writing it.
Sounds really cool. How about you, Naga?
Well, I think I got a short story idea. I started thinking about a mischievous coward, a haunted house, and a stolen family heirloom. And I think they're just going to be pranking each other. So I'm like, how would you prank a haunted house? I don't know.
I love that.
How was writing for you?
I had a lot of fun with it. I don't know that I'm ever going to write it because it's very silly. I was trying to incorporate all of the things that I wrote in the last prompt. So I have a very fast.
What was your setting? I remember the characters, but.
Oh, the settings I came up with were a swamp in autumn, a giant hamster cage, a green room at a dingy theater, a haunted post office, and the kitchen of a busy restaurant. And the problems that I came up with was, oh no, we're out of cheese. Don't know the rules to a video game, not dressed appropriately for the weather. So I was just stringing these all together. It's very silly. But I had a lot of fun writing it, so.
I love that.
It seems like a lot of folks also in the chat have either been repeating prompt 1, which I respect, get some new stuff, or been also doing their own, like Ash Black. I wrote a combat training scene between my main character and her sidekick. I think it came out pretty good. Nice.
Ooh, awesome. Leslie Means says, my main character Thomas is researching in a library in the dark future.
I love the idea of pranking a haunted house, and now I'm just stuck on there. Like, I want to know how you prank. I'm genuinely like, how, like, a haunted house wants to scare you. So do you just pretend you're not scared, or like laugh at everything?
Well, they're a mischievous coward, and I'm thinking of making them prideful. So I was like, you just got to get back at the house. You got to prank them back. You got to, I don't know.
Just like fill it with Spirit Halloween store decorations or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but realistically, if I ever did that, because it was relatable, my mom, that is the real villain. That is the real.
She pranked you a
lot. But I also found a really cool idea by Katie Luxmore. Someone ended up getting lost on the way to the labyrinth. Embarrassing for them.
Nice. Eve Walker says, amazing how much stuff you can put together if you just sit down and write. I definitely feel that. It always feels, I don't know, very intimidating, I think, thinking about doing it. And then when you sit down and do it, it's like, oh, that wasn't too bad most of the time.
Yeah, and Holly. Oh, sorry, go.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say I agree because like there are some ideas that I feel like just didn't work for me for so long because I just kept trying it one way. And if you like give yourself a prompt and just like force yourself to look at it a different way, you have a story apparently still. Continue, Monica, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's just, it looks like a lot of folks have been mixing some interesting ideas. Like, where was it? Like Holly and Mistletoe. I mix anchovies, pizza argument, blind date, college dorm with fun-loving vegan boy and angry anchovy-loving girl. Fun fireworks.
Nice. Ooh.
I'm trying to find that exact comment just to reread that because, oh yeah, there we go.
It's definitely an interesting scene coming out.
Yeah, I love this one by Dory Anderson. Ghost in a closet and setting out his idea of an outfit for an ornery teenager.
That's so cute.
I want a little ghost fashion stylist.
Everything.
Well, I guess I also want to propose to the chat the discussion question to get some folks thinking about it. And also it kind of relates to like if y'all want to take some of these prompts and run with it. But also asking any tips for starting a brand new project and any questions from newbies for longtime Rhymos? Because
As someone who's never finished a long-term project, I don't even know if I'm allowed to give advice. But I think it's important to know a beginning, middle, and end, which I know a lot of people disagree with. But I feel like if you have like some sort of a structure, it's easier to like start your story, or like at least if you know your characters well enough, you can start your story. I guess like just knowing the bones of your story is very useful.
Mhm.
What about y'all?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was thinking, Megna, about how you're saying you were very scared of revision earlier. I guess my tip would be don't be too scared of it. Like I think it can be really scary to think like, oh my gosh, I know I'm gonna have to go back and change this. But it is actually much easier to do that than coming up with stuff out of the blue. So I think for me anyway. So I think yeah, don't be too scared of it, I guess, is my very general advice.
I'm gonna make note of that because that is genuinely one of the most, I can't do it. But I feel like, I don't know, the more people who tell me that they like revision, I'm like, okay, it can't be that bad.
it's part of the process. I've been doing this new thing. Well, maybe mainly because when I'm in my classes for writing, we do a lot of writing prompts, and people tend to like put plot in there, even if we're trying to focus on specific craft elements. And so what I'm like coming to terms with is just writing a page story or writing like flash fiction helps me finish a story, and then I can continue doing longer pieces. Because I don't know, I guess it feels good to accomplish, even if it's a small thing. It feels good to finish something, and then it's motivating.
That's why I want to get into flash fiction, because I feel like if I can condense an idea into a shorter piece and just finish it, I'll be like, I can write. You got this. And then I'll like try to write something else.
That's great advice. There's a great piece of advice from Sammy D in the chat. It says, if you're a brand new first time writer, make sure to choose the genre that you love to read, not what you think you would like to write. Which is that's great, because I think that is one of the things of when you're writing, it's like you should enjoy reading it too, hopefully. So yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice.
And Carly Quinn has fun brand new project tip. Where do your characters fall on the D&D alignment system chart? I love that one. Chaotic, neutral, lawful, good, etc. Helps you decide how your characters react in certain situations. You gotta know who's evil.
That's a really good idea too.
I'm gonna drop a D&D alignment chart in the chat just in case people aren't familiar with it.
I need it, so I will be using that one. Oh, I like this one. For the newbies from Kate L. Write a bunch in the first few days if you can. You can buffer it throughout later in the month, especially for the week 2 or 3 blues. I think like if you just start writing in the beginning of the month, you are like, okay, I got this. Like at least like trying to write a little bit in the first week, so you have like something to update your little tracker thing with. It's really useful and like at least like motivates you.
Maddie, go ahead.
No, I'm just making a note of this one organizational tip from Rebecca. Making a private Discord server to organize my project ideas makes starting a project so much easier and definitely motivates me to plan a bit more. On the terms of organization side, sometimes it's a little bit harder to get started when we don't know where things are. Love it.
Yeah, that's great. I was just going to read out this comment by Maddie Ophelia that says, your brain will tell you that your story is terrible and you should give up entirely on your current work in progress. Don't listen to it. I've done NaNo over 10 times, lost count, and it happens every time.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I think just accepting that writing is a messy process and it's never going to be like perfect is one of the things too. Like you're gonna mess up sometimes and it's fine.
Yeah.
And also sometimes revisions are necessary. Like Janet Barber says, hi, coming from a teacher, professor, and writer, try looking at some of your old ideas or writings and refashion them. For example, should your protagonist really be the main character? And sometimes it's not that our ideas are bad or maybe we're being like harsh on ourselves, but also sometimes we can like remake things into like better or fitting the moment.
Yeah. That happened to me with the project that I want to work on in November. I had these two characters that I thought, oh, this is just going to be like 2 pages of backstory. And then I started writing it and I was like, actually, this is the story that I want to write between these 2 characters. And so, yeah, figuring out, I think, where that the heart of your story kind of actually really lies.
That just happened to me while we were doing this exercise because like I've had the story in my head since I was in the 8th grade, and now I just like if you shift the perspective to another side character, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Well, while we're reshifting and recreating things, let's maybe take this momentum. And should we go on to the next sprint? The last sprint, I think.
Let's do it.
Cool. So we should have like 10 minutes for this one. So you've written the plot idea. Oops, I don't know if this fits anymore.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Is this good?
Yeah, so I think it works. Basically, if you don't mind, if I can like tweak it a little bit. Yeah, so the original prompt that we had was, you've written your plot idea and ending. Now write the entire story as a flash fiction piece, less than 1,000 words. What happens in your story? And I totally think that still works. I think what you can also do is kind of write an elevator pitch of your story. So that's like what you would write if you met your dream agent in an elevator and you had like, you know, a minute to tell them about the story that you wanted to write. Like what are the big ideas? What's the big conflict? Like where is it going? What are, maybe even just coming up with like a list of like what are the scenes that you want to have to be able to get there. So it can be, I think it can be what you want it to be. Like it can be a little bit of an outline, or you can pick one scene and write it as a piece of flash fiction. But I think it also ties into what we were talking about earlier about like finishing a small thing and having that sense of accomplishment. So I think using this last prompt to like finish a small thing related to your story. Does that work?
I hope this works for y'all. And if not, yo, just use this time to write. Y'all can ignore this completely. Even though, Catherine, thank you for fixing.
That was great. It was all you. I just like filled in the little gaps there. So
If it's any like consolation, like what we did the last time where like we combined the setting and like the one character, I'm just using the words I wrote then and just like expanding on it and trying to write 1,000 words. So you could do that as well.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Let's do 10 minutes again for this one. And all right, let's write, guys. Starting now. Got about 4 minutes left. About a minute left. Go ahead and wrap up what you're writing. Feel free again to put in the chat if you want to share anything that you wrote. Yeah, how'd that go for y'all?
I just took a scene that I'd written with this character previously, put it in the doc, and tried to face my fear of revising, and just started editing that to like make it a 1,000-word piece. I think I got like 500 words in, but
Wow.
Great.
I wrote pranks on paper. I'm happy with what I got.
please share one if you can, because I want to know.
What is it? I'm thinking of one where like the house extends the table. It's very minor, so they can't reach their food.
I love that. I love those like petty little pranks. That's great. Yeah, I ended up writing a scene, which I'm pretty happy with where it's going. So that was very useful for me.
Oh, Nautica. And this is like in terms of like minor pranks. I feel like if the coward like made it so that the haunted house couldn't open its windows, or like just put something there, or like didn't oil the little things enough so they couldn't open the windows, I think that would be funny too. I know how you do it, but I think that's the only idea I had. I was like thinking about this while writing too. I was like, how do you prank a house? What do houses need?
I appreciate the tip. I definitely know, hopefully for like folks in the chat, this was a good space to brainstorm and practice and maybe like get a little bit more writing in. I know it's 2:00, so we should probably go over our last minute announcements just to respect your time. Catherine, you got anything like super important, like necessary right now?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was looking back through the chat, and somebody, I think Oscar Winters, asked how often we were going to be doing these. So we're planning on doing virtual write-ins every other week on Fridays, through September and October. There might be a little bit of shifting around. We have some special stuff coming up, which is not scheduled yet, but as soon as it is, we'll put up the events on YouTube and put it on our official calendar. But I know we've got a webcast all about world building coming up in a few weeks. So if you want to learn more about world building, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get notifications when we schedule those. I know we're excited. We're going to be trying something new this year for the first time. We're partnering with a yoga instructor who is part of the NaNoWriMo community, and she'll be leading some kind of virtual write-ins. It'll be a little bit of like stretches that you can do to help your body as you're sitting and writing all day, but will also involve a little bit of writing. So again, those will be on the schedule as soon as we hammer out the details. But we're very excited about all the stuff we got coming up. Definitely gearing up towards NaNoWriMo. And then in November, we will be having these every week. And plus probably some extra stuff from other people on YouTube that we partner with. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell too if you want to get notifications when we've got new videos going up. Yeah, and don't forget to announce your projects and check out our NaNo prep page for resources for preparing to write in November. I think that's all I got. Anything I forgot?
Nope, I think for the most part, we're all good. If y'all check out NaNo Prep or Writers of Color, if you need another space to talk about writing, that's happening next week at 4 p.m. I don't know the day.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll hold on. Let me find a link real quick to the NaNoWriMo calendar.
We have all these projects coming up, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Also, if you need another space to just connect with other writers and you're between the ages of 13 to 18, we have the Young Writers Program. There are forums there that you can discuss your projects and ask for advice. And sometimes Nautica and me are on there. And I think Catherine too, I could be wrong.
Occasionally. Yeah, I will also put a link to YWP in there. Thank you for reminding me about that. But yeah, lots of good stuff coming up. So yeah, the official calendar that should be updated as soon as we get stuff settled. And yeah, I'm really excited to be back. So yeah. Ooh. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining. This was really exciting and inspiring, and I'm like looking forward to writing my novel now. So
thanks for always showing up.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon.